How you going, guys, and welcome to Skull Cam. In this episode, we'll be getting one of these quads started, I hope. But before we do any work on these bikes, I need to show you something outside. Here's an update for you guys on the black quad. We got it started in the last video. Since then, I've given it a little bit of a clean. I have taken it for a spin around the yard, but before we do any more riding, there's a few issues that need sorting out. The rear hubs are a little loose on both sides. Also, the tyres are tubeless and I've only got a little pump. I managed to pump 3 up, but the one on this side down here, it's dead flat. And because it's tubeless and my pump's not very strong, I can't pump it up, so I'm going to swap it over with one off the other quad. I've already taken it off, so I just got to swap them over. Anyway, that's enough of this bike. Let's go inside and check out the blue ones. So the next quad we're going to try and start would be the one on this side, mainly because there's 2 reasons. I'll point them out. I'll just drag the first quad around a bit. And then let's take a look at this wheel down here. If you can see that from here, there's no bolts or screws holding it in. They're completely missing and the wheel's literally just balancing on there. Drag it around a bit more. And the second problem with trying to start this one is there's no key to actually turn it on. So that brings us back to this bike over here. Let's get working on it. The quad bike's set up in the corner, ready to spray with WD-40 to loosen up any of the rusty bolts. I've sprayed it and gave it a quick wipe down. It's already looking a lot better. Next I'm going to take the plastics off. That's as far as the plastics come off without removing the handlebars. There's the rest of the parts, the front shroud, the light, the seat, the bolts and a few screws. And although we didn't get the plastics off all the way, it's definitely enough to get to the carb and remove it. Grab out the 10mm. One bolt out. Let's get the other side. Now let's disconnect the slide. I already found the problem. Check this out. It's got a crack straight through there. It's probably leaking air through that. Check out the air filter. It's looking a bit crusty. It's all powdery. Definitely needs a new one. What the heck? You're not going to believe this. I was pouring the fuel out, just like that, onto the rag. And I'm not sure if you're going to pick that up in the light, but that's glitter. There's a heap of glitter inside the carburetor. Well, that's definitely a problem. That has to be the #1 strangest problem I've ever seen on a motorbike. I just can't get over that. Glitter in the carburetor. I think we found the problem. Seems to be a bit of glitter in there. I've got to get this mess cleaned up Then I'll stick the carb back on the bike. I've got the carb cleaned up, put back together, but before I put it back on the bike, if you have a look where this crack is, you can see the black mark where it's been leaking air. So I have to find a new one of them. Hopefully I've got one laying around. If not, we'll grab it off the other quad. I've taken the fuel tank off and I thought we better give it a clean out in case there's glitter in there, but I can also hear something rattling. There we go. Bit of plastic. I can't see any glitter in there, but I'm going to clean it out anyway. And here's that bit of plastic. Have a look at the fuel that just dripped out. It's full of glitter. I've had a closer look at this fuel tank and I've noticed it's got a crack in the bottom and it's leaking fuel. So rather than clean it out and deal with that crack, it might be easier just to grab the fuel tank off the fully broken quad down the end there. I've taken the cover off the third quad, ready to get to the fuel tank and the spacer for the carb. There's the spacer we need. It's got no cracks in it. Let's get the fuel tank off next. Fuel tank's off. Now we can go stick it on the other quad. There's just a couple more things we need to do before we stick fuel in it and see if we can fire it up. Connect the on-off key. Have a look at these wires. If you check them out, there's some bare wires sticking out and another one down here. I'm just going to tape them up with electrical tape before I put the battery in, put some fuel in and try and start it. Nothing too serious, just a couple of bits of tape. That should do it. And just another one for around this dodgy looking fuse. Get the battery in there. Stick some fuel in it. There doesn't seem to be any fuel leaking out of the carburetor. That's a good start. A couple of seconds after I said it's not leaking, guess what's happened? It started leaking out of the overflow. I guess that means I might have to adjust the float. Let's just try and fire it up anyway. We'll see what happens. Okay guys, when I was starting it, I noticed some smoke coming out of the wiring down here. so I had to shut it down. That's some bad news for the second quad. I was really hoping it was going to start, but looks like I'm going to have to strip it right down and sort out the wiring. And even though this one didn't start, I bought all 3 quads for $100, so that one alone, the black one that we got running, is good value in itself. I still haven't decided what I'm going to do with the end quad down there. Maybe use it for spare parts or try and get that one going next. Anyway guys, before I end this one, I just want to say a big thanks to all the Skullcam subscribers and look forward to the next episode of Skullcam. That's a wrap.